Hello students, we are going to deal with the last subphylum about the coming under the phylum Chordata, that's a class, their general characteristics and the classification of subphylum Urochordata. So subphylum Urochordata, they are aura, means tailed chordates. That means notochord is confined to the tail. That's the main specialty of this Uro. Uro means tail and chorda means core, notochord. So here this forms notochord is confined to the tail. And one of the another specialty of these urochordates is that larva is more showing more chordate characters than that of adult. That means adults are showing primitive characteristics. So the advanced larvae is metamorphosizing into less modified adult. And another specialty is the body is enclosed in a specific covering which is called as tunic or test. So these are the main features by which we can identify a urochordate. So urochordates are tailed chordates. That means notochord is confined to the tail and larvae is more advanced than the adults, and the body is enclosed in the test or tunic. And coming to the salient features of phylum Urochordata, they are coming about their habit or habitat. They are exclusively marine forms, olictory or colonial, or sedentary or pelagic forms. You know the meaning of all these words. Exclusively marine means are seen only in the marine water, seawater, and they may be seen as single forms or in group forms. They may be seen as attached forms or may be seen as free swimming forms. Then coming to the test of tunic, that's a outer covering seen external to the body, which is secreted by ectoderm, and it is tough, but at the same time it is translucent, and is formed by formed of complex polysaccharides called tunicin. Tunicin is a substance which is forming the tough test or tunic. Then below this tunic or test, that is the outer covering of the body, we can see the podic wall, that is mantle, and inside this mantle three layers. The body is formed of three layers: ectoderm, mesoderm and endoderm. Then coming to the as the case of all the other these forms, this atrium, the presence of as we have seen in the case of cephalochordates, here also we can see the presence of atrium, which is a ectoderm light, which is in the urochordates also it is seen covering the it surrounds the pharynx and receives the gill slits and gonoducts. So coelom as such is most often reduced or highly absent because the function is taken up by the atrium. So tunicates, they are commonly called as tunicates or tunicates. So here in these forms they are exclusively marine, sedentary or free swimming forms, colonial or single solitary forms. Then the test or tunic is a tough covering seen around the body, which is ectoderm line formed of a complex polysaccharide called tunicin, and inside that or below that layer or inside to that tunic or test, we can see the mantle is present, and this mantle is formed of body wall, under which we can see the body wall is formed of three main layers: ectoderm, endoderm and mesoderm. Then inside the body we can see a specialized cavity called atrium, which is a familiar feature we can see in the cephalochordates and urochordates. It is it surrounds the pharynx and receives gill slits as well as gonoducts, and coelom is absent in these forms because of this highly developed atrium, or may be seen as highly reduced forms. Coming to the brachial apertures and atrial apertures, so body possesses two main openings, that is incurrent or the buccal or the brachial aperture, excurrent or the atrial aperture. So two apertures are there. If you have studied the Amphioxus, you can see, you can very well differentiate between the brachial aperture and the atrial aperture. A brachial aperture is nothing but the where through which the water get inside of the body, and the excurrent or atrial aperture, you know that it is the area through which the waste water is removed, or the waste products are removed in the case of Amphioxus. So a continuous flow of water is maintained throughout the body, and this continuous flow helps to transportation of the food, waste products and gases throughout through the body. So body possesses two main openings: brachial aperture and or atrial aperture. And brachial aperture is a incurrent through which water enters into the body. Excurrent aperture is a area through which water goes out of the body, so that there is a continuous flow of water is maintained between these two regions, and through this the transportation of food, waste products and gases takes place. And here in the case of these forms, skeleton is confined to the notochord present in the larva, and the structure is absent in the case of adults. So skeleton in the form of notochord that is seen in the case of larva, but it is absent in the adults. Then coming to the digestive system, they are like the cephalopods. Here they are also filter feeders. Filter feeders, they will filter the food particles, the minute food particles from the water entering into the body through the water, and they will feed on these minute particles. So for this filter feeding to carry out, the spacious pharynx, large number of gill slits are helping the, like the case of Amphioxus. I am telling you more and more about more comparison with Amphioxus because you have dealt with the type Amphioxus. Now coming to the respiratory system, here also like the case of Amphioxus, no specialized organs are there, but the body wall itself is acting as the organ for respiration, through which by diffusion water the gas exchange takes place. Circulatory system is simple with a tubular heart and periodic reversal of flow. That's a peculiarity seen in these forms. Periodic reversal of flow of water is the blood is seen in the case of this subphylum Urochota, unlike the case of Cephalopods. The nervous system consists of a true dorsal tubular nerve cord in the larva and a dorsal ganglion, and get reduced in the case of adults. No specialized sense organs are seen in the case of this Urochodids, but we can say some sense organs in the case of other forms in their classes, but as such specialized sense organs are absent. Then coming to the reproduction, asexual reproduction by budding and sexual reproduction by gamete formation is seen, and development is indirect with a free-swimming tadpole larval form. And here the larvae shows retrogressive metamorphosis, and you will deal with the term called retrogressive metamorphosis in the case of Ascidia in detail. So retrogressive metamorphosis means it is a change of the larva into the adult, but the larval advanced characteristics get reduced to form a primitive adult. So that change is known as, such a type of metamorphosis or change from larval to adult is known as retrogressive metamorphosis. So that's all about the, in general, about the subphylum Urochordata. Now coming to the classification, their classification is mainly based on the nature of the test, position of branchial and atrial aperture, arrangement of body muscles, number and position of gill slits, life cycle, etc. Based on all these features, the subphylum Urochordata is classified into three main classes, that is Larvaceae, Acidaceae, Thalliaceae. Larvaceae is otherwise known as Appendicularia, and the other class is Acidaceae, and the third one is the Thalliaceae. So coming to the each class in general about the short note on their class as well as examples come under the first class is class Appendicularia or the Larvaceae. Appendicular Larvaceae, they are free swimming pelagic forms and they are neotonic form. This is the example coming under this Appendicularia, that is Oikopleura. So you can see the animal, the structure of the animal. This is the Oikopleura. So they are free swimming pelagic forms, neotonic. Neotonic means normally the larva doesn't show sexual maturity, but in some cases what we can see that the larval forms will acquiring sexual maturity and they will be undergoing reproduction. So such a feature can be seen in the case of Appendicularia also. So these forms are showing neotony. Larva-like forms with permanent tail supported by persistent notochord. We can see that this is a larva-like forms, that this is a tail. Tail is supported by notochord, and they are showing incomplete metamorphosis. Test is absent in them, but there is a house is present. We will deal with it when we study about the Oikopleura. So test is as such is absent, but a jelly-like translucent temporary envelope is present. Envelope is present, which is called as a house. So that's the criteria for classification. That here these forms, the test as such is absent, but they are covered by a jelly-like translucent house. And atrium is absent. And pharynx has two large gill slits. Alimentary canal is U-shaped with mouth and anus close together. Sexes are united and asexual reproduction is unknown to them. So we'll deal about the example, that's Oikopleura. Oikopleura is a very minute free swimming form. So It's a very minute free-swimming form, undergo incomplete metamorphosis. It retains most of the larval characteristics. Adult retains most of the larval characteristics, and they live inside a. So this is in this diagram that is not shown, but we can see that the whole body is covered, or the whole body is freely covered within a tusk like this structure. And this tusk is a very loosely bound structure, and it is gelatinous and mucus, and the main functions of this house is protective, and they are helping in the hydrostatic movement and filter feeding. Food filter feeding also this house is helping. So this structure is not seen in this diagram. So normally it is seen as the whole body covered within this tusk, the house, not the tusk, it's the house, gelatinous house. And another specialty of this house is when food particles get clogged within this house, or if the animal is got disturbed by anything outside, they will remove this house and they will synthesize a new house. So that's the specialty we can see in the case of Oikopleura about the house. And this house has two filters connected with the mouth. Within the mouth region, within this mouth region, there are two filters are connected with them for the filter feeding mechanism. And the body consists of an oval shaped body, and the body, this part as such is called as a trunk, and this one is a tail. So a trunk and a anteriorly directed tail. So this is the anterior side of the body. So this is the whole oval shaped structure we can call it as a trunk, and a anteriorly directed tail. And this tail is supported by notochord and muscle bands. This is a muscle bands seen, and this is a notochord. Urochord is a notochord supporting the tail. Then a tail is used for feeding and as well as for locomotion. And the alimentary canal is a U-shaped structure. It has got a spacious pharynx. You can see the large pharynx, hypopharynx, epipharynx. It differentiated to many different regions. So a spacious pharynx is there. A short endostyle can be also seen in this organism, and we can see a peripharyngeal band. Peripharyngeal band also present. A pair of gill slits are present. Then, but the gill slits, a pair of gill slits directly open to the outside, not to the atrium, as the atrium is absent. It is not opening to the atrium as atrium is absent. So it's directly opening to the outside. And tubular nerve cord. So see, here there is a nerve ganglion seen on the anterior end of the body. So this nerve ganglion as such is continuous to the tail as in notochord. So it extends, dorsal ganglia, it extends up to the tail as the tubular nerve cord. So nerve cord is extending, sorry, not the notochord, it's the nerve cord. So here it is, we can see the nerve ganglia or the dorsal ganglia is present. It is extending till the tail as a nerve cord. And these forms are hermaphroditic forms. Gametes are released to the outside. Larvaceans arise from by neoteny from the they are supposed to be arisen from neoteny from the tunicate. Tunicates got modified to form the, or they have by attaining neoteny they have modified to form the larvaceans. That's about the phylum, about the features of the class Thaliaceae. Sorry, Larvaceae. So that's all about it. Thank you.